30-year-old nurse Bridget Flores was knocked unconscious while attempting to resist arrest at a University of Miami football game on November the 4th of 2017. The 14-second video footage of the incident showed Flores angrily confronting police officers before she was punched in the face, rendering her unconscious. The video was recorded by witness Eric Argueta, who said Flores seemed to have no control over herself. She'd allegedly attempted to attack another fan and refused to leave the premises. Police carried her out of Hard Rock Stadium and took her into custody on charges of disorderly conduct and battery on a law enforcement officer. It wasn't Flores' first run-in with the law, as back in 2012, she was reportedly charged with battery. Number 10. Yom D. Castro, Nelson Jimenez, and Brandy Isom. 31-year-old Nelson Jimenez assaulted an officer on camera while New York police attempted to arrest the criminal on April the 7th of 2020. A second civilian, Brandy Isom, also attacked an officer of the law after being ordered to leave the area. For reasons unknown, Jimenez interrupted the arrest of 27-year-old Yom D. Castro, who was accused of robbery, and punched one of the officers in the face before attempting to flee the scene. Even after the police caught up to him, Jimenez refused to surrender himself peacefully, kicking the same officer repeatedly in the groin and thigh. He continued to resist as he was being handcuffed and removed from the scene. In the aftermath, he was charged with assault, disorderly conduct, harassment, and obstructing government administration. 25-year-old Isom also disregarded police commands to abandon the area due to the ongoing investigation. She, at one point, punched an officer and was therefore arrested on charges of assault and obstruction of governmental administration. Castro, the individual the police had originally been after, was eventually caught and charged with robbery, larceny, and menacing, as well as possession of stolen property. Number 9. Eleanor Stern. 31-year-old Eleanor Stern was caught on camera assaulting a Florida Highway Patrol trooper on December the 10th of 2015 after getting in a heated argument with a Department of Motor Vehicles employee. The Boca Raton resident became enraged after she was informed she'd brought the wrong paperwork to her appointment at the DMV. She angrily confronted the desk clerk and was eventually told to leave, but refused. A state trooper subsequently approached Stern, who then turned violent. An eyewitness who recorded the entire incident uploaded the video to Facebook. Stern could be seen kicking the police officer several times, prompting the trooper to bring her to the ground. The woman continued to struggle on the floor, but was eventually wrangled into custody and charged with resisting arrest. Number 8. Tara Trunfio. A 23-year-old woman from Colorado was arrested for defying mandatory quarantine during a trip to Hawaii on May the 16th of 2020. Tara Trunfio had signed a document agreeing to spend 14 days in quarantine upon her arrival in Hawaii, a prerequisite to visiting the islands during the initial stages of the pandemic. Trunfio posted several pictures of herself at different beaches across Maui, openly flouting her signed agreement to stay indoors for 2 weeks. After her initial arrest for failing to comply with mandatory quarantine, the young woman ran into further legal troubles. First, on September the 11th, for stabbing a homeless woman she'd invited to sleep on her couch, then for destroying the windows of several houses and eventually breaking into one of them a month later. During this period of criminal activity, she was charged with resisting arrest, second-degree assault, unauthorized entry into a dwelling, criminal property damage, and disorderly conduct. Number 7. Timothy O'Donnell. During a riot in the streets of Chicago on May the 30th of 2020, Timothy O'Donnell, donning a Joker mask, was arrested for setting a police car ablaze. 31-year-old O'Donnell's defense attorney, Michael Leonard, argued his client just happened to be near the patrol car at the same moment a different rioter set it on fire. Leonard called his client a pacifist, but the suspect's criminal history contradicted his statements. O'Donnell had reportedly failed to appear in court for hearings in 5 different states in connection to 9 different incidents. The prosecution presented evidence proving O'Donnell had ignited the vehicle's gas tank before remaining in the area for another 15 minutes as he rolled a cigarette. Several witnesses provided authorities with recordings and photographs of the crime scene. One of the pictures showed a man in a Joker mask posing in front of the patrol car with a distinctive neck tattoo visible, which matched one sported by O'Donnell. Though he initially denied each of the charges against him, he eventually pleaded guilty to interfering with law enforcement, and on June the 22nd of 2022 was sentenced to 34 months in prison. Number 6. Michael and Alexandra Nelson. During a routine traffic stop in Hempstead, New York, on December the 23rd of 2018, 38-year-old Michael Nelson and his 29-year-old wife, Alexandra, head-butted and threw shoes and underwear at police officers. After the couple had been pulled over, officers realized Nelson was visibly intoxicated and attempted to detain him. He resisted, head-butting the policeman repeatedly, while his wife began throwing her shoes and underwear at the state troopers. The Nelsons were eventually restrained and arrested. Michael was charged with driving under the influence, criminal possession of a controlled substance, harassment, resisting arrest, and second-degree assault. His wife, on the other hand, faced charges of attempted assault and disorderly conduct. Both of them refused to submit to field sobriety tests. Their lawyer, Mark Gann, argued that police reports on the incident were largely exaggerated and there was more to the story than initially revealed. Number 5. Daniel Weber. On January the 5th of 2023, 39-year-old Daniel Weber attacked a police officer outside his child's elementary school in Memphis, Tennessee. The officer had noticed Weber walking toward the building with a hostile demeanor and approached him, to which the irate father reacted violently. Weber had reportedly been denied entrance to the school after he demanded to see his child. He wasn't permitted to do so at the time in question, although the reasons for the restricted visitation weren't made public. Following a brief argument, Weber threatened to harm the officer. When he was subsequently told to leave, he punched the policeman twice. He was finally subdued after police stunned him twice with an electrical weapon. Weber was charged with aggravated assault on a first responder, criminal trespassing, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct following his arrest. Number 4. Tamani Crumb. New York police officer Kendo Kinsey was caught on camera punching 19-year-old Tamani Crumb in the face, knocking her to the ground after she attempted to prevent authorities from arresting her boyfriend on August 30th of 2022. The incident took place in Harlem, where 22-year-old Elvin James was being taken into custody on suspicion of attempted murder. Officer Kinsey was recorded striking Crumb hard enough to knock her to the ground just outside James's apartment building. Though activists immediately voiced disgust at the policeman, the NYPD defended the officer's actions, indicating James had brandished a gun and that defusing the situation was necessary to avoid further casualties. Both Crumb and James were cuffed and taken into custody. As of the latest developments, Kinsey hadn't been disciplined in any form. Activists continued to campaign for action to be taken against Officer Kinsey, who they believed to have used unnecessary force rather than de-escalating the situation. Number 3. Andrew Tornetta. 20-year-old Andrew Tornetta was arrested for allegedly punching a police horse during a Philadelphia Eagles game on January the 21st of 2018. Tornetta, who'd gone to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia before the NFC Championship game between the Vikings and Eagles, was accused of attacking both the horse and an officer during a violent altercation. He was charged with aggravated assault, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and failure to disperse, and subsequently entered an accelerated misdemeanor program, which allowed him to avoid prison time in exchange for completing mandated community service. Tornetta, however, denied the charges and filed a lawsuit against the Eagles, as well as police officers Wesley Van Wyck and Paul Tenenny. He accused them of completely fabricating the incident in order to justify their hostility towards him. According to the lawsuit, the officers approached the stadium's parking lot and commanded the crowd to disperse. Tornetta apparently took too long to vacate the area because of how crowded it was, so the officers allegedly attacked him, pulling at his shirt until it ripped and striking him several times with a baton. Van Wyck and Tinney were consequently accused of assault and battery, false imprisonment and defamation. The suit was eventually settled outside of court. The terms of the settlement weren't disclosed to the public. Number 2. Brian Daney. On February the 2nd of 2023, 20-year-old Brian Daney sent 2 police officers and a civilian to the hospital while resisting arrest in Queens, New York. Daney had reportedly been working out at New Hyde Park Gym when he got into an argument with a 37-year-old man whose name wasn't disclosed to the public. Police were called after Daney punched the victim in the face, inflicting several bruises and lacerations. The unruly man refused to leave the gym or accompany officers outside and instead attacked the first responders. All 3 of the victims, including the 2 responding police officers, required medical attention. Daney was arrested on several charges, including assault, criminal mischief, and resisting arrest. Stay tuned after the last listing if you'd still like to see our previous video about when porch pirates go wrong. Another group of people that like to defy authority. Number 1. William Peralta. William Peralta was arrested in Long Island, New York, for attacking a police officer during a traffic stop on February the 1st of 2023. According to the police report, officers noticed a 2012 Honda Civic with tinted windows and an obscured license plate traveling at high speeds. 27-year-old Peralta didn't immediately stop when police activated the patrol car's lights, instead abruptly turning left into a parking lot and stepping out of his vehicle. The suspect began walking away, ignoring the officer's commands to stop. When the policeman attempted to restrain him, Peralta reacted violently, injuring one of the officers in the process. He was eventually apprehended and charged with assault, several traffic violations, obstructing governmental administration, and resisting arrest. The wounded trooper was taken to the hospital where he was treated for his injuries. Number 9. Alicia Treyton, Brian Devere. 2 porch pirates were arrested after stealing several packages from a home in Bothell, Washington in January of 2018. A female suspect identified as Alicia Treat, aged 37, slipped and injured her ankle during the pair's awkward getaway, which was recorded by the homeowner's security camera. The male accomplice, 39-year-old Brian Devere, could be seen carrying the injured Treat to their vehicle before returning to grab the 3 packages from the porch. The video recording of Treat's mishap was uploaded to Facebook by the victimized homeowner. The post went viral, garnering more than 650,000 views, with many commenters deeming the woman's fall as karmic justice at work. Treat and Devere were later tracked down by investigators and arrested at a motel in Everett. The injured woman, who attended her court hearing in a wheelchair, ultimately pleaded guilty to the thefts and was sentenced to nearly 2 months in jail. She was also ordered to pay restitution to the victims, whose stolen packages were reportedly worth more than $5,000 and contained special medication that wouldn't be replaced by insurance. Treat, a mother of 3, was allegedly homeless and on disability at the time of the incident. Devere had previously faced criminal charges for identity theft, auto theft, and burglary. Number 8. The Stockton Amazon Bandit. On April the 17th of 2018, an unnamed woman was caught stealing an Amazon package from a front porch in Stockton, California. She was subsequently followed and taunted by a witness as she attempted to flee on a bicycle. The thief had brazenly poached a massive cardboard package from a person's porch and then balanced it on her bike's handlebars as she rode away from the scene. A passerby identified as Mark Jimenez witnessed the burglary while driving through the neighborhood and proceeded to follow the suspect in his car. Jimenez began to hurl verbal barbs at the woman that culminated with threats of involving the police if she didn't return the box to its rightful owner. The thief then hopped off her bicycle and approached the Good Samaritan's car. She shouted an expletive-laden retort at the man before abandoning the package on the side of the road and leaving empty-handed. The entire exchange was recorded on Jimenez's cell phone and was widely shared on social media in the incident's aftermath. Number 7. Marvin Marshall. A would-be porch pirate was caught in the act of trying to steal a package from a house in Moncks Corner, South Carolina on January the 17th of 2020. He was consequently held at gunpoint by the homeowner until the arrival of local sheriff's deputies. At the time, Marvin Marshall was reportedly driving around the neighborhood near War Admiral Lane looking for work. He later told the police that he'd been searching for lawns to mow when his car suddenly broke down. Marshall exited his vehicle, approached the victim's house and knocked on the front door. When there was no answer, the suspect grabbed a package that was sitting on the ground near the door and began to walk back to his car. The homeowner then came outside and pointed a firearm at the thief, demanding he return the stolen parcel. Marshall complied with the armed man's instructions and remained at gunpoint until police officers arrived at the scene and took him into custody, after which he was charged with petty larceny. Number 6. The failed getaway in Mississauga. A man was arrested for stealing a package from the porch of a resident of Ontario, Canada, in January of 2021. He was caught by members of law enforcement after his getaway vehicle got stuck in a snowbank during his attempted escape. At approximately 2:40 p.m. on January the 4th, the unidentified 33-year-old suspect approached a house near Churchill Meadows and Erin Center Boulevard in the city of Mississauga. He proceeded to pick up a package that had been left outside the home's front door. As he attempted to make off with the stolen item, the homeowner emerged from the residence and started berating the man for his theft. The suspect then fled back to his vehicle and started to back out of the driveway, but his efforts to escape were derailed by a pile of snow on which his car got stuck. The entire incident was captured by the homeowner on his cell phone. Adding to the situation's hilarity was him actually trying to help the porch pirate from a distance by explaining that the car was front-wheel drive and that he needed to get the wheels, which were spinning in the air, on the ground. Unable to drive away, the thief remained inside of his vehicle until the arrival of the police, at which point he was taken into custody. The video recording went viral after being uploaded to Reddit. The pirate, who was reportedly a resident of Brampton, was ultimately charged with 1 count of fraud under $5,000 and 1 count of theft under $5,000. Number 5. The Glendale Pirate. A Glendale woman shamed a porch pirate into returning the package he'd stolen after witnessing the theft from her front yard on December the 18th of 2019. According to reports from local media, Shannon Brandon was eating breakfast with her son, Derek, in front of their home when they observed a pair of men as they exited a parked vehicle and walked towards 2 separate houses. Brandon's son noticed that one of the men had taken a package from someone's front porch and told his mother about it. She then ran after the suspect and yelled at him to put the stolen item back. The thief complied with the incensed woman's commands, and the 2 would-be porch pirates subsequently returned to their car and left the neighborhood. Brandon later told a local news station that she felt compelled to confront the burglars because, with the winter holidays approaching, the package could have contained someone's Christmas presents. Her neighbors revealed that there were only 2 pillows inside the box that she'd successfully prevented from being stolen. Number 4. Kelly Russell. A Dallas thief was caught by surveillance cameras stealing $5,000 worth of packages from her neighbors' front porches. The woman was identified as 33-year-old Kelly Russell, a self-described model and bartender who'd been accused of pilfering parcels from other residents of the apartment complex where she lived. On January 11th of 2018, Russell was arrested in Oak Cliff in connection to unrelated traffic offenses, which included driving without a license. She was released from custody the following day, but surrendered herself to the authorities less than a week later and confessed to being the suspected porch pirate. Her thefts had been captured on video, with multiple clips circulating online in the weeks leading up to her arrest. The authorities conducted a search of Russell's apartment and found stolen packages in such a large number that they needed 2 police cruisers to transport them in their entirety. Russell faced felony theft charges that carried a maximum sentence of up to 2 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000. After entering a guilty plea, the porch pirate ultimately received 2 years of deferred adjudication probation. Number 3. The Edmonton Sting Operation. A woman was placed under arrest by undercover police officers mere seconds after stealing a package from a front porch in Edmonton, Canada. The entire incident, which took place on February the 21st of 2020, was captured by a doorbell security camera. The unidentified female suspect went to the front door of a residence in the capital city of the Alberta province. She wore a mask, a baseball cap, and carried a backpack. After grabbing a brown package that had been placed on the front stoop, The woman began to calmly walk away with the stolen item in hand. Before she'd even reached the end of the street, however, 2 unmarked police trucks pulled up on either side of her and she was quickly surrounded by plainclothes officers. The thief was ordered to drop to her knees as a 3rd police vehicle arrived at the scene. The dramatic arrest was reportedly part of a sting operation conducted by Edmonton police in an effort to crack down on porch pirates in the area. Today's topic was requested by To The Victor Bro. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Ryan Polaire. In July of 2019, a Las Vegas man was remanded into police custody after carrying out a porch pirate theft in the Northwest Valley. The suspect, 21-year-old Ryan Polaire, reportedly stole a package containing more than $4,000 worth of surveillance equipment from a victim's doorstep. In a rather ironic turn of events, the man was ultimately identified with the help of footage taken from surveillance cameras that had captured the entire incident. While he committed the theft, Polaire wore an Oakland Raiders baseball cap and a black mask that concealed his face. Detectives from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department were able to positively identify him due to the distinctive tattoos on his neck and legs. After receiving 2 petty larceny calls on the day of the theft, local authorities were able to rapidly track down Polaire and place him under arrest. In November of 2021, there were reports that a Las Vegas resident named Ryan Polaire was murdered during an altercation with his ex-girlfriend's husband, Michael Daniels, aged 32. Polaire allegedly crashed into a wall after his motorcycle was intentionally struck by Daniels' pickup truck. The deceased had reportedly been involved in a battery domestic violence incident with Daniels' wife the day before the fatal crash. Number 1. Cortez Brown. In October of 2019, the victim of an assault and robbery was arrested after being identified as a suspect in a series of porch pirate thefts. Cortez Brown worked as a delivery driver at a Pizza Hut near Atlanta, Georgia. Brown allegedly used his pizza delivery bag to steal packages from various houses in the residential district of Buckhead and had reportedly been caught on multiple home security cameras carrying out the thefts. On the night of October the 5th, Brown was sent to an address in northwest Atlanta to deliver a pizza. When he arrived at the home, however, the delivery driver was ambushed by 2 armed men. One suspect struck Brown in the head with a handgun, while the other took the $200 in cash that was in his wallet. The 2 robbers fled the scene, even taking the box of pizza with them. Brown contacted the authorities and was able to receive medical treatment for his wounds. While recording Brown's official statement about the assault, an Atlanta police officer recognized the man's blue PT Cruiser as the same vehicle that had been used by the Buckhead porch pirate. Brown was subsequently taken into police custody and charged in connection to the string of thefts. Thanks for watching. If you somehow falsely landed on the CIA's most wanted list and North Korea offered you political asylum, would you go there? Let us know in the comments section below.